Miscreants and mollifiers. The anonymous librarian is proud to present an extract from Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. In the small room, the men slept beside each other, but none complained, because this boarding house was better than what they were used to back at their respective homes. The bedding was clean, and the food was filling. The girls laundered their clothes well, and the boarding house keeper patched up the lodgers' worn work clothes with scraps to make them last another season. None of these men could afford a wife, so for them, the setup was not half bad. A wife could have given some physical comfort to a workman, but a marriage could beget children who would need food, clothing, and a home. A poor man's wife was prone to nagging and crying, and these men understood their limits. Ladies and gentlemen, miscreants, mollifiers, varlets, I am the anonymous librarian, but you can call me Al, and welcome to the show, to another reading update for the week, for this week of whatever this week is. It's somewhere in August, I'm sure. Look at the video. The video will tell you what date it is. Calm down, man. Stop getting angry so early. Let's get into it. Let's not waste any time, and let's start with, as always, the comics and manga. Saga Volume 7. Interesting, this volume started a little bit slow. Like it didn't grip you as quickly as some of the other ones did. Although, yeah, there is some stuff that happens early on that does grip you. But it was clearly building towards something. And the last two chapters in this volume. Woo! Yeah, I know. They hit hard. They hit hard. And I mean, just told a wonderful world that quirky and crazy, but tender sadness and just heartbreak and just the struggle of life in a world so war-torn as this one. Saga, still not a disappointment. And then, of course, I had to go to a manga. If Saga is my happy place when it comes to comics, my happy place when it comes to manga is Vinland Saga. And this one is book 6 with the coolest cover. Look at that. Yeah. I only read yesterday, so only a very little small part into it so far. But it's really good. It's really good. It's really good. We're going to follow a little bit of Knut's story again before we go back to Forfin. You could just feel stuff culminating and coming to a head. I just love the things Makoto Yukomura plays with. Even the stuff he does in the one thing, like at the start with one character, and you think it's going to go one way, it sets up for it, it goes another way, but it's all still makes 100% sense that that's the way it would go. And how much these characters change and morph and how more fascinating it becomes. I think I'm going to have a blast reading this week. Yeah, and I think something tells me this is going to be one of those in a series that is already just banger after banger. This one's going to be one of those like book 4 that just stands out. Now let's move on to the non-fiction, and I did finally finish Stanley Kubrick Directs. Really little to add. What I said last week is pretty accurate. It's just more of that, and this is where I really got into 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Clockwork Orange. Just great analysis and stuff. Really enjoyed it. I see this book is not very well regarded on Goodreads, which is surprising to me. Maybe it's just like, maybe this is more for academic style, but I loved it. This was amazing. Alexander Walker really did a great job of analyzing the stuff, but not being trying to put himself too much into it. And just the interviews and the stuff coming from Kubrick himself in this book, amazing. I love it so much. Then, of course, I had to pick up my next non-fiction read, and that is Mornings on Horseback by David McCullough. This is the story of Theodore Roosevelt when he was still a child. So far, I'm barely into this. 34 pages, that's where I am in the moment. Teddy is barely in the story so far. It's more about his parents and his uncles as far. But wow, it is brilliant. You can tell there's a level of depth, and even McCullough talks about how lucky he was that there was this insane amount of letters between the family, and it was before the family realized they were going to be famous. So they were not writing the letters like people that, oh, this might be read one day. So this very direct and open letters about between the family for this rich tapestry, and so far I'm really enjoying it. Very, very early into it, don't know, but the writing's really well done and engaging and interesting. So I think I'm gonna really enjoy this. Non-fiction is done. So now I guess we can go to our big category called fiction. And here stuff gets a little crazy. Well, first of all, I finished The Black Company. I think I finished it the day after the last video I made. Yeah, I didn't have that much left in it. Brilliant. It did stick the landing. I love the last epic battle of this is insane and wild. Deserves its as like a foundational fantasy for many writers that cite this one as it was so influential. And I understand it and I enjoyed it and I can't wait to get back and read the second book in that series. I was wondering if that was going to be one of those ones I like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I don't want to go back to it. No, I want to keep going back to it. And after that, I picked up another fantasy book and I actually finished it within this week. Dawn of the Empress. I've got a lot of reading done. This is by Noreen Dorman and Catriona Ross. It's the second book in the Winter Mage series. First of all, what was kind of fun about this was it dovetails into the final events of the first book. It's just also seen in here, but from different characters, and I really enjoyed it. The fact that I finished this book quickly, it's not a long book, but still, it's really readable and easy and keeps you engaging. And what I did like about this is way more point of view characters. Here you can really tell they are planning a way bigger world, because especially in this one, the first one had little tidbits of this, but in this one there's a lot of little crumbs being set up for future events. A lot of strings are left untethered, but the main story they wanted to tell you, they did tell, and you're like, oh, there's some interesting stuff going on in this world. There's one point of view character that comes in late, and it's actually kind of it's a pro and a con. They realize this character really well. He's a young character, a young guy. I found this guy so annoying. I really I didn't dislike him in the beginning, but in his actions and stuff, I really found him so annoying. And the thing is, yeah, but it's also, yes, that's exactly the type of character who exists. And you can realize, oh, this is going to cause some real troubles in the future. There was two characters that started to really annoy me. And they were like the main kind of characters for the last part of this book. So I was enjoying the other point of view to this. And the people make mistakes, but I feel very real and grounded. These two just annoy the crap out of me. But all in a very realistic, yeah, there's definitely people like this and they would annoy you like this. What I love about, especially in Facebook and why I'm excited for the future of this is, they do a brilliant thing of like showing people at different stages of their life and how it changes them. And I'm so excited to see what's going to happen to these characters, because some of the characters, it also, this short book goes over a wild span of time. I think it might be 50 years or something like that. Like that it spans through. So there's people that go from being young to being very old, and other people come in that are young. And just to see how characters transform into their old age and from just different stages of life, they do an amazing work. So I'm really excited in this. I wouldn't put it up there with like the Black Company, but I mean, the Black Company is already kind of in the rarefied age season. But I love what Noreen Dorman and Catriona Ross is doing. Yeah. And the fact that you could make characters that I despise as much as the ones here, who are not inherently bad characters. They're not inherently bad characters, but I despise them. They annoy the crap out of me, because they are very realistically done. And well done for that. I want to punch him in the face. So I want to punch this guy in the face. So after that, I picked up the book I read from at the beginning, Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This is my last book for the month that was on my TBR. And I mean, I am surprised how fast I'm going through this. I'm already at page 212. It's unbelievably readable. Characters that are in less than 10 pages of this book, but they stay so memorable from what you learn about them. it's a saga. It's gonna span like I believe 100 years of one family's lifespan. It's a family that's a Korean family that one character in this Korean family is kind of forced for reasons to move to Japan. And in this time, this is like in just it's very much just pre World War II and then into World War II where I am now. The Japanese attitude towards the Koreans was very like racially insensitive, racist. It was racist, and they looked down upon them, and the Koreans were going through a hard time, and they were also Japan colonized Korea at this time, and just the way they exploited the Koreans and just the impossible situations they put them in. But it's, I mean, that's the background, right? Which just plays off again. The foreground is these characters and how they make their lives and how they go through this tough time and make something of it, and the heartache and pain and the beauty and everything and the mistakes they make, but also, what I would really like to add is I have not yet made, even with the Japanese characters, some of the other characters, you get characters that do bad stuff, but even when it's explained and you kind of understand, there's no character you don't understand or Minjin Lee goes into it. She will explain the point of view of every character and go into it. Even a small character that's you're just going to see her for brief, but she will go into what is character and motivations just to give you this whole tapestry of what this world and this experience is like to make it understandable for everybody. And then stuff you people will like, I would not like this, but how people have to change it. They are part of times they're traditionalists, but how they are forced to change and become and accept stuff they don't necessarily want to. And even if you think, okay, your beliefs are backwards, but when you explain why it's like that, you kind of understand and sympathize with them. You realize it comes from a good-hearted place more often than not. It deals with tough stuff, but there's some real whimsy and beauty in here. And the characters are so well realized. Every character is unique and fascinating and complex. You will feel for basically everybody in this book at the point where I am now. I'm at a victory. There's some horrible stuff happening right now because we're in the World War II era, and yeah, you know what happens in World War II? People, when the country's at war, they start like looking for anybody that might be a troublemaker. Even they'd rather see that guy might be a troublemaker, even though it won't be. And like, well, let's shut it down. And yeah, and the consequences and the horrors of that. So yeah, no, I'm pretty confident I am actually going to finish this by the time I speak to you next for another reading update. So that's it. That's it. Nothing more. What have you read any of these? What would you recommend? What did you think about them? Let me know. Or if you read these and you think there's something that I might like, please recommend it. I would like to hear it. I am the anonymous librarian. You can call me Al, but you don't have to call me Al. But you know what? Leave a comment, a like, subscribe, put on the notifications, and share with the whole world. The notification is there so that the moment you see this video, is no matter what you do, you watch it immediately. It's that important. It's that important. And you have to share it with the whole world because the whole world does need to go on this great, magnanimous journey that I have gifted to mankind. I'm so selfless, am I not? What a hero I am. And before you start arguing, like, bye. Bye. I am an awesome person. I am selfless. And to you, I'm saying, bye.